it's me, Lois, with Aussie Lozzie Knit Designs, and I'm here doing a tutorial for the linen stitch. This is one of my favorite stitches because I love the woven flat fabric on the one side, but I also love the cool kind of seed stitch look that you get on the wrong side. So I used an Old Norwegian cast on. And so what that means for me is that the first row of my fabric is a wrong side. So I'm going to do a wrong side first, and then we'll go ahead and I'll start talking us through the section. It is just a simple 2-stitch, 2-row repeat. Okay, so it's not a complicated stitch pattern. It is a slow stitch pattern though. It is slow, I'll give you that. But we're gonna see what we can do today. So like I said, I did Old Norwegian, and when you're knitting that flat, then this side here, as you can see, this is my wrong side, and it looks like a bunch of purls. On the other side, one-sided into it, it would look like a bunch of knits. So we're gonna go ahead and start with row 2 of the pattern as like a setup. So the interesting thing about the linen stitch, before I get started, is that the slipped stitches with the yarn that's held while you slip a stitch, that yarn actually is a decorative element in the linen stitch. We want it to be seen. We don't want to hide that. And I think that's unique because in most stitch patterns, when we're slipping stitches, we hide that yarn behind the work. Not this time. It is going front and center at the right side of the fabric. Okay, so I always like to do chained edges. I've cast on 15 stitches because I do want my edges to be even, and I want them both on the right side to be knit. So I'm going to slip this first one, and that means I'm ready to do a purl. I want a chained edge, so I'm not going to do that. What I just talked about, which having in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to purl this stitch just like normal. Then, because I want my working yarn to be seen on the right side of the fabric, I'm going to take it to the back. I'm going to slip a stitch. I'm going to bring it back to the front and purl. That's it. Take it to the back, slip, bring it to the front, purl. All the way across, okay? I didn't realize when I selected this yarn and these needles that they kind of look very similar in color. Whoops. Okay, because I like the chained edge, I'm going to go ahead and knit this one. And I like to knit it through the back loop because I find that it keeps it nice and tight. There are other ways to keep your edges nice and neat, but I prefer simple. That's how I do it. All right, so if we take a look at this row 1, we can see our decorative yarn in the front, okay? So now we're going to work a row 1 of the linen stitch. So I'm going to slip the first stitch. Last time we purled this stitch. So this time we want to slip it. So I need my yarn to be visible, right? I'm going to go ahead and slip it and then move my yarn to the back and knit. Bringing the yarn to the front, slip, to the back, knit. Yarn to the front, slip, to the back, and knit. Yarn to the front, slip, yarn to the back, knit. Now it's very important while you're working this stitch that you don't have your yarn in the front, slip, and then go to knit and accidentally create a yarn over, okay? So just be careful to bring that yarn across the front to the back underneath your knitting needle, okay? And then we'll knit. Flip. Oh, and see, I almost did a yarn over after I talked about it. That's hilarious. Okay. And then, like I said, I prefer to do a back loop there to give me a nice chain edge. Okay. Okay, so we're going to work a row 2 of the linen stitch. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and purl just like we did on the setup kind of row. But yeah, we're working that now. So purl, yarn to the back, which is the right side of the fabric, slip, yarn to the front, purl. Yarn to the back, slip, yarn to the front, purl. Just to get those floats nice and visible. And this is it. The whole entire linen stitch is just these 2 rows repeated over and over until you have the fabric that you love. Okay? And I wonder if we can pause and look at this. No, not yet. It needs a little bit more work before we can really see how it looks. So, yeah. So we do have this linen stitch fabric now. If we can look at this nice and close, you'll notice, let me get my knitting needle point. You'll notice that the slipped stitches with the yarn in front, that it creates this like little bar. And because we're working 2 rows over and over, the same thing, it really starts to look woven. And it feels amazing. It's very flat fabric, very, very flat. If we look at the wrong side of the fabric, look at this seed. Look at this seed stitch. Isn't that beautiful? It's totally underrated. It is a slow knitter. It is a slowly knit up fabric, but I think it's well worth it because I love the smooth side. I love it so, so much. Anyway, so that is going to be our tutorial for today. That is the linen stitch tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed it and you can begin knitting with it. Maybe some coasters would be nice. A scarf would be great, but it is a slow stitch, so be careful. I do have one pattern currently. I will have another one soon, but right now, one pattern that has the linen stitch in it, and it uses a 2-color linen stitch. So I do have a tutorial for that as well. But it is the color and texture plate baby blanket. If you're interested in using that in a pattern, that is actually my most popular pattern too. And I think the linen stitch plays a part in that. It's really beautiful. Anyway, I'll put a link in the thing so you can go check it out if you're interested. But otherwise, you can cast on 15 stitches and knit that up and end up with like a little coaster or something. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, would you be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe? Thanks so much. Bye-bye.